Hello everyone, good day and welcome back to this channel. This video is about practicality, so I'm going to show you how I built an AI agent that serves as a co-pilot or sales co-pilot for one of my clients. This AI agent is essentially it provides information that helps sales rep to prepare for a pitch or a sales call, and the agent essentially takes the LinkedIn URL or LinkedIn profile URL of the target or the contact that the sales rep want to speak to, and the website URL of the organization of that contact. Takes those two as input and release or returns a comprehensive pre-sales call report. This report gives insights about the person, their organization, their role within the organization, the needs and pain points of the organization, the stages of the organization, recent news about that organization and what they do, and it also gives a little bit of behavioral insight on the person or the contact that the sales rep is going to speak to, and also maps their needs to products and services of the client's company and gives all of that to the sales rep. It even goes as far as providing conversation starters for the sale. I will give you a little bit of background on the client that I built this for, a little bit of background of what led towards building this particular sales AI agent. So before I do that, let me first of all show you, because all of this is all talk, right? Let me show you how this AI agent works. So this is the AI agent, and this is the interface. This is what you interface with. First, you trigger it through a chat interface for this particular one, and you can see the name of the organization. I've shortened it here and what it is for. This AI agent uses our sales. This AI agent is our sales co-pilot and helps reps to be better prepared for a sale. Okay, so like I said before, I'm going to take the LinkedIn URL of the prospect and connect, and as well as the URL of the company, and put it in. So give me a moment. Let me grab the LinkedIn URL of a test subject. Before I do that, I just wanted to mention that I've gotten the full approval of the profile of this person that we're going to use to test this AI agent, and have their full permission to use it. It's important that I do this because of the issue of privacy concerns. So I'm just letting you know that I have full approval and permission to do this. Just give me a moment. Let me grab the LinkedIn URL. Okay, so here we have this interface, and I have put in the prompt that says, "Hi, I'm getting on a call with Dapo Susanya from Core Systems. Here is details and his LinkedIn URL as well as this company URL." And I say, "Get me a report to prep for the call," and then I send it in. So let's see what happens. While the thing is preparing and is doing all the job that it's supposed to do, we're waiting. It's going through the first tool that this AI agent has, which is the prospect researcher. It's thinking through it, it's generating. I'm showing you how all of this works. I'm showing the different details, how it goes from one stage to another. And now it's moved on to the company researcher. It's researching the organization, and once it's done with researching the organization, it now starts to write the report. And so we're going to see all of that in here. Let's give it a moment. After I'm done showing you this demo, you can go ahead to log in. I'll drop the link below, and so you can use that to access your Relevance AI and you see if you can follow through. But I'm going to show you step by step. This AI agent has already been built, but I can show you step by step how that happens, and you can follow along. And there's tons of resources that you can use to do this as well. So just keep that in mind, and feel free to ask further questions in the comments in the comments below. Sorry, pardon me, I have a bit of a cold, so I will be clearing my throat a lot often on this video. Okay, now it's done with the company researcher and is now writing the pre-call report generator. It's now generating the report for us to use. Okay, so now it writes the report. You see, interesting, isn't it? Yeah. Fantastic. Okay, so let's go through what it had said based on this. So it says pre-call report for Dapososoya, and the first thing it did was to give key business challenges and opportunities. So it first looks at the challenges and opportunities within the organization, which is core systems, and they are focused on digital transformation, data acquisition. They do and so it's here. It looks at how to, what the key challenges and opportunities within that organization is. I won't dwell on it. This is very a niche and very, it will be more important to the salesperson. And then it moves on to prospect analysis. So it first of all gave a little bit of the organization and then the prospect, which is Dapo himself, his background as a CEO, and then his interest and pain points, and it dives into what it does, what is peculiar to this particular prospect, so that the salesperson can tailor their conversation to meet their interest and pain points. And then it maps those needs, interest and pain points of the person, the different challenges and opportunities for the organization, and maps it to the client's value proposition, so that it maps it to the value proposition as well as the services and products that the client offers. Then it also moves on to strategic talking points and conversation starters. So here you have how to start a conversation. So something like that point, notice your recent discussion on digital transformation and innovation in industrial protocols. The name of the organization is similarly focused on marrying technology innovation with bespoke solutions. So how is core system approaching the challenge? So this is just an example, and then it also aligning to business needs. Proven track record in custom antenna and RF system could directly complement core system. So it's just aligning all of that. And then it moves on to talking about the objection and counter responses for the objection. Isn't this cool, right? I mean, this would be the dream of the salesperson, especially if you can study this before you get on a call with a prospect. And during the call, it gives recommendation and steps and follow-up tactics. So yes, that is what this agent does. Isn't that cool? So let's see how it was built. Well, let me first of all show you the inside of this agent. So let's go back and see if we can upload this. Let me reload so we can see what happens on the inside of this agent. So this is the inside of the agent, and that's the first work that it has done, and that was last week, and this is the work it did today, just now, because this was when I was building it last week, but this is the most recent work that it had done. It was just what we just saw right now, and as you can see, it was just 10 minutes ago, the number of, when it was done. So it's currently inactive, but this just shows when it happened, and it happened today, being the May 2nd. So this is an example of what happens inside the brain. As you can see, the different steps that it showed us earlier: the prospect researcher, the company researcher, and the pre-call report generator. All of this happen in sequence. So that's the inside of the AI agent. And if you want to build this, of course, the first thing you need to do is first and foremost log in or create an account on RelevanceAI. RelevanceAI.com, you can see it in here, and then you create and go ahead and sign up for it. I have already signed up, so I'm not going to go into all of that. Once you sign up, it brings you straight into your dashboard, which is somewhere here. But the first thing you want to do is to come into tools. So the tools is where you come into first. When you come into the tools, you see like this. Of course, I have already some tools in here, but for yours, it's going to be empty. And then the first thing you do is to create new tool. So when you create a new tool, you describe the tool that you want to build, this is a recent update. When I was building mine, there was no functionality like this. You just go ahead and type in the names and all of that. So let me click on build your own tool. You want to click on that, and you put the title of the tool. Now, the thing about AI agents on RelevanceAI is that you have agents that use several tools. Depending on the functionality that you want your agent to have, you need to build the tools or use existing tools within RelevanceAI and make that available to your agent. So in this case, if you recall, when we were doing it earlier, we had three main tools. We had the person or prospect researcher, which takes in the URL of the LinkedIn URL of the person and returns information on that. And then you also have the company researcher, which researches the organization that the prospect works in, or the organization that you are dealing with. and then you now have the report generator as well, which is another tool. So there are three main tools that this particular AI agent has. So I'm going to go ahead to build that. Like I said, this is just a walkthrough, a run through. I'm not building it from scratch, but I'm showing you how it works. So you go ahead and type in the title of the tool. In this case, it's going to be prospect. Sorry, you know that, and you put a short description. So let me go back to doing this. I'm not going to save it. So let's go back into it. So if you click the prospect researcher, you see it here, the title, name of the title of the tool, and then this tool takes in the LinkedIn URL, scrapes their profile, and generates an AI summary of the prospect. And inside this, look at in terms of the input, it means what the tool uses. So what you put into the tool to get the result that you want. So that's an input, right? And then you put in what your agent should pass into this tool, or what you need to set when adding this tool to an agent. So first thing you want to do is the LinkedIn URL, which that's what we want this tool to have, right? LinkedIn URL of the person you are researching, the LinkedIn URL of the prospect to screen. And you can type this manually here if you want to, but we're going to show you how that works later on. And then you also have the tag. Some people have different ways of configuring this tag. And here, because you're going to be using this LinkedIn URL, and so you want a tag that you can use to pull it into the other parts of the tool. So here I used LinkedIn _URL. So people use camel cases where it will be LinkedIn. And there will not be this U will be a capital letter, and then just be together one word, but doesn't matter. And it's a string, a combination of words, right? So it's a string. If you're familiar with data analysis, you know that the data type is a string. So the type of data that this input expects. And then after that, you click on add plus. When you click on it, you click on plus or text. So here you drag this in because it's a type of input, is a text. So you drag that in here. You click on that. You see that. So here, when you write this, the question will not be what do you want to add. So it will be text. So because I clicked on text, that's why you have this here. But of course, we're just testing this. We don't need it right now. But that is what you need to do if you're building yours. And then you move on. Once you are done, you add the next step. You click on plus, and then you add the next. Okay, so inside RelevanceAI, there are several tools. I felt it's important for me to explain this to you. This particular step, right, is already existing. It's a templated one, and it already exists in RelevanceAI. So what you need to do is to click on the plus button here. Once you click on it, and then you search for get a LinkedIn. You should find it. Yeah, there you go. So you have it here. So you click on it, and when you click on it, that's what you now configure this way. If you're following this video, that's what you need to do. You click on the plus button, you look for this particular tool, and then you configure it. Since you've already set the input in here, you come here, you click on that, and then you will see the list of input that you already set. If you've not set an input at the beginning, you won't be able to find anything. And so you click on it. Since this is the only input here, that's why you can see it listed here. And then the method is the thing you want it to do. So it needs to get the user's profile. And don't forget to tag this as the right way. Make sure that it's properly tagged. And then the next step is to also you want it to also take the user's post. So apart from just researching the user's profile, it just tells us about where the user worked, and the number of years of experience, and so many other information about the user. That is just demographics for that user. It's not enough, right? You want to understand what makes this user, I kept saying user. You want to understand what this prospect, how they think, or what drives them, what their psychographic or behavioral traits are. So in order to do that, you need to analyze their posts on LinkedIn as well. So that's what this particular step does. So the first one looks at the user profile. The second one looks at the user and analyzes the user's post or the prospect's post. So you follow the same process. It's still the same tool that you're adding. You click on plus, you search for this, and then you pick. Don't forget that it's still the same LinkedIn URL, right? and that's the input that you need. But this time around, instead of saying get the user's profile, you're saying get the user's post, right? That's the post. It's this post that you need here. And once you're done with this tool, then you now need to add a brain, the LLM. Remember, I've done some videos on LLM. There is no AI agent that doesn't need a brain, and the brain is the LLM, whatever LLM you choose to use. And then if you expand this already, I already have, there are some free ones to use, but you need an API access to the different LLMs that you want to use. I am familiar with OpenAI, ChatGPT, so that's what I'm using here. And you have some prompts for this. So this prompt is, can you please take this, once you add it, you add that. So let's do a test example. If I do this and I say, if I do this, so what you do here is come here, you now add a step. So you add the steps to it, you say LLM, okay? And when you pick that, you can now decide on which LLM it is that you want to use. So you need to pick it. So it has already picked it, but for me, I just do OpenAI, and then I do what I pick, whichever one it is. This time around, I have used 4.0 mini at the time of this recording. That's what I used for it. And so you come here, you pick it, and you pick whichever one that you need. And then you set it on. So you set the system prompt for this step, and here it says, can you please take the LinkedIn information and summarize into a 300 word summary with details on the user's background, key career experience, current role, and duration at role. This summary is for a sales rep to prepare for a call, so make sure that all relevant details is there. It should be an overview which that rapidly brings someone up to speed on the prospect. Then make it read like a resume with name, location, follower count, current company position, position, all listed one after the other before you break into an overview section, education, and then experience. Analyze the prospect's LinkedIn post, generate a behavioral and psychographic insight that will be useful for the sales rep as they prepare for the call. And then here is the information. Okay, so there's a little bit of code writing here, and let me give you an example. So you need curly brackets, so you can type it on your computer. And once you put a double curly bracket, it gives you a list of things. And right now I picked on this, I put it in there, and this is the text. Please pay attention to this. This is the text. So it's taking the entire data it collects for the LinkedIn. So if you look up here, you will see LinkedIn 1, and then there's also LinkedIn without the one. So there are two different data sets, and so it pulls both. So this is for LinkedIn 1, and then you have for LinkedIn 2, because don't forget it's the data that you want, not just the other ones that comes, that not status or anything, but the data. So once you take that, and you're not looking for the input. Remember, the input is what it collects at the beginning, and that's not what you want to give the LLM. The previous steps have already done the researching of the person, both their profile and their post. So that's what you need here, not the initial LinkedIn URL. And so once you do that, like I said, you do double curly brackets open, and then you click on this, and then you click on the other, and do this for the same one. I'm trying not to disrupt what I've already built here. So so that's how this works. Sorry, let's fix that. Double curly brackets, and you're picking this. Sorry, it's the wrong one. Double curly brackets, you're picking the first one. So that's what you need. And once that is done, and that's it. So if we want to test this step, these are the three things you need inside this tool. So in order to test this step, let me find a random LinkedIn. Let's see, should I use mine? Okay, let me pick my own LinkedIn post, my own LinkedIn URL profile. Just give me a moment, let me grab that. If you want to follow me on LinkedIn, feel free to do so. So I'm putting that in here, because we are testing this step, right? This particular tool. So it's not at the beginning. This is not the entire workflow. This is just the tool, the prospect researching tool. So if I do so that is my LinkedIn URL, and I've already imputed it here as the input, right? So now if I want to test this step, now that I've done that, if I want to run the step or test the entire thing at the end of it, let's see, how do we do that? Let's just click on here and run the tool. So I'm running the tool now. Its first thing is done is that it picks the LinkedIn URL. It's already picked it, so it has already gotten to this point. So it's currently running this step. It's holding on. Oh, sorry, I forgot to delete this earlier, so let's try that again. delete this one, because when I was showing you how to set the LLM stage or LLM step of the tool, I forgot to delete the one that was there before. So let's try it again. Run tool. There you go. So it's run it now, and if you want to view all, this is me, the number of followers I have, where I work, and education, experience, behavioral insight. I mean, this thing is really true. I mean, technology in marketing, as evidence in the recent post concerning the impact of AI on marketing strategies. It refers to me as he. Okay, to me it's not a he, it's a she. He values continuous learning, or she values continuous learning, which suggests he may appreciate innovative solutions. So that's how that one works. So we'll move on to the next tool. I don't want to save changes. So it's going to ask you need to publish your changes first, but I don't intend to publish my changes. So because I don't intend to make any changes here. So I'm going to move on. Please don't forget to save your changes so you don't have to do the work twice. And then move on to the next tool, which is the company researcher. It's going to follow the same process. You put in the name, you type in a description, and this time around, your input will be the company's website URL. And so this, you type the name of the input or title of the input, company URL. This is the URL of company to be researched and must be in the format. So it's giving it the format. So this is that company's URL that you need to put in. So that's the first step. Don't forget to have your tag in here. And don't forget that this is also a string. So you're going to pick up text. So when you want to write this step, you do a plus. Sorry. When you want to create this, the input automatically comes in anyway, and so you add text. So once you add text, if you have multiple inputs that you want to put for this particular step, then you use that. But you add text and then you put the input and the titles. But this is not necessary, so I'm deleting it. And then next thing is for you to add a tool, and this is a Firecrawl web scraper. RelevanceAI already has its own web scraper, but we're using this Firecrawl because we want a tool that can scrape the entire number of certain number of pages, more than just the home page. You want it to scrape more than just the home page of a website. So of course, what you need to do first is to log into Firecrawl and create an account there. And then you pull that in here. I'm going to do a different video on how this works. But if you want to use a normal web scraper from RelevanceAI, you can do that by searching in here. So if you do search here and you look for scraper, so you see then there are a number of ones here. The Firecrawl one is the one that is verified. I'm sure you can see that they're all verified here, different ones here. And this happens because already I have an account with I have an account with Firecrawl web scraper, and that has already been connected to my RelevanceAI account. I will need to show you how that works. So just give me a moment. Let me take a pause and go back into the main page. Okay, so in order to set your integrations, one of the first things you need to do when you're using external tools is that you need to integrate it using the different the relevant API calls. So the first thing you want to do to set your Firecrawl integration into your RelevanceAI is first you go to firecrawl.com. You sit here, firecrawl.dev. Once you click on firecrawl.dev, you create and sign up. Once you sign up, there are different resources. So on how to use the API keys and the different documentation. You see the playground, you see the API keys. So once you get you come back into your RelevanceAI and you look for apps and integration here. Once you click on that, these are the different apps that I've integrated, and my API keys, my integrations, but the different ones here. So take, for example, you want to do a new one. So if I say hello, you see this one, you click on the relevant one, and then you enter the API key. In the case of Firecrawl, I just clicked on Firecrawl. I searched for Firecrawl API key. I did that, and then I set it up. I put it in here. Of course, my API key is without so nobody can see it. And once that is done, it means that when you are now building, as we were doing here, you can now find it. So you search, when you click on plus, and then you search for Firecrawl. Once you find it, you click on it, and then of course it now requires you to start doing the things you want to do. Don't forget that this time around, what you are putting in here that you wanted to search is the company URL, and remember that's what we did in the first input section. So you pull this, you click on this. Once you click on this, it gives you the company URL, and then you add it because it's the only input that is here. If you have multiple inputs, you pick the ones that you want it to use. And then once you do that, you want it to scrape. You don't want it to scrape only the page. So scrape only the URL only. So can you see this? Uncheck the scroll instead. So if you wanted to scrape the entire website, you need to uncheck this. So once you uncheck this, and then you now need to set the number of pages that you wanted to to crawl. I have set mine as 5 here. If you want more number of pages, then you can do that. So once you do that, then you are ready and everything is sorted. And in terms of the path, once you uncheck this, and you put the number of pages to 5, and then that's it. Okay, that's all you need to do here. Once you've done that, then you can now run the steps. So let me delete this so we can run the steps. So let's look for and before we do that, don't forget that you need an LLM as well. So we have done the fire crawl, it crawls it, but you need something to output it, you need something to summarize it. And so if I expand this, for example, you can see that, so once you can see that, there's a system prompt here. Can you please take the website content and summarize it into a 300-word natural language summary, which clearly outlines what the company does, why they do it, and where they're based. And then it should also be easily readable. Break it into key areas like overview, product services, recent news, blog, and then note, do not output in JSON, it must be natural language summary. So I picked my model, like I'm using GPT-4 mini, and then so once this is done, you can now test it. So let's test the step. Don't forget that the website content is you're pulling it from here. So remember how we did the previous one before, which we said double curly brackets, and then you can say the input, you're not using the input, you're picking data. The data is what you need. So the full data is what you need in this case. Not text, not string. You want the data that the Firecrawl tool had already pulled. So you click on that, and once you click on it, you have what you need to do the work. And then, so in order to test this step, let's look for a random company website. Let's see, which company website can we use? Something that is very random. Let's do Dell. Yeah, it's a company, so let's do Dell. Okay, so we picked Dell.com and we come in here. So let's test it, okay? So let's do this. There you go. We've done that. So if I want to run the tool, there's a false error. I'm not sure why. Why is that? Let's try to fix it. Reduce the page limit from 5 to 3 pages. Set it to exact main content only. I'm not sure why it's asking us to do that, but specified output format markdown links. Okay, let's accept it and let's run the tool again. You see how this works? It's quite easy to use these crawlers to find out what they are quite intuitive, and they help you to, once there's an error, you can troubleshoot that error and figure out how to fix it. Finally, so here it is, the output, what it does, recent blog values, key takeaways for the sales rep. Okay, when engaging with Dell, emphasize their innovative AI solutions, commitment to sustainability, and all that stuff. So it outputs the summary for the organization and recent news about them. And then, so that's how this particular tool works. So let's go back to, I'm not making any changes here. You haven't said changes. I don't want to change it because I don't want to mess with what I built. And then we now move on to the final tool. This final tool is basically what brings it all together. So we've called this a pre-call report generator. It takes a company's prospect summary, that's the output from the last 2 tools, and generates a pre-call report for the sales rep and to help them prepare and strategize. So first thing, of course, you need to have an input, right? So In this case, you need 2 inputs. Don't forget that this time around, you're taking the output from the last 2 tools and you're bringing it as input into this particular one. So let me give you an example. So you say, let's expand. So let's take text, for example. You type in the name of the tool or of the input. This time around with prospect summary, and then description of it, and then you now type in what you want to name this. So the prospect summary, you put it in here. Then the input here as well, company summary, you put the name there. Same process, no difference, but different names, of course. And then one more step is to add the brain. Remember, you are combining both, so you add the brain plus similar way we did last one. And then this time around, you now need to be very clear and precise as to what you want this LLM to do. Your role is the elite sales strategist and business expert with extensive experience, your deep understanding of sales psychology, proven track record, analyzing prospect, winning sales strategy, makes valuable for a pre-call preparation. And then next thing is a task. Analyze the provided company's research and prospects LinkedIn data to create a strategic sales call preparation guide for a sales rep at the organization of my clients, for my client's organization. And then this is a description of the more like a summary of what the client does. So you're giving enough information to the brain so that the brain knows, or the LLM knows a little bit more about all the parties involved. So already, because you're pulling data about the prospect and the organization, that is not necessary, but you need to give a little bit of, this one is static, is not changing. The owner of the agent or the client, the company that's using the agent is not going to change. The information about that, it doesn't change all the time. So here it's just a short description of what the client does. There are different services that they offer, their value proposition, the product, services, the market that they target, and all that. And then you're now saying, to write this report, please use the following process. Review and synthesize the company research to identify key business challenges and opportunities. Analyze the prospect LinkedIn information to understand their background, potential pain points. Map, right, the client's unique value proposition to the prospect's specific situation. That is important. And then generate strategic talking points and recommendations for the sales call. Outline objections and effective counter responses. Input variables. So you are pulling, remember the way we input this, right? Don't forget it's double curly brackets. And then you say that there are 2 different inputs here. So just pick both of them. And then you are going further again. Your thorough analysis is crucial for the team. I'm not going to go through all of this, but you get the picture. And then this time around, because it's reasoning, it requires a lot of reasoning and putting things together, I have changed the model I'm using, the OpenAI model that I'm using, from GPT-4 Mini to O3 Mini, because O3 Mini is one of their latest reasoning model. So once that is done, then you're done. This step is quite easy and quite straightforward. You're not pulling anything beyond the input and using the right LLM, and then you run the tool, all right? So I think we've done that already. I'm not going to put it here because the client is connected to me, and it's my contact. I've used my own LinkedIn profile and a different company. I don't work in Dell, so this is not going to work. But in order to refer to how this works or how this has worked, refer to in the beginning of this video where I showed the output for a clear prospect and the organization that they work with. So let's come back to that. So remember all of that, and you see it here. So this explains what, all the things, the steps that it has followed. But no, before I show you this, let's go back to the building. So once this is done, then you go back. Don't forget to save your changes, please. Don't forget that. And once you've saved it, you have all your prospects here. Then you now go back and you go this, instead of going into tools, now you come into agents. So give it a name, and that's what we did earlier. This agent is our sales co-pilot and helps reps to be better prepared for sales calls. And then this is now the role of the agent. Act as a research assistant. All of this you can copy and paste, or you can write it down and all of that. But this is very important because it tells the agent how to use the tools that you have created, because you add the tools to it. Okay, so you do that. When you're adding, so you can come here, you click on add tool, and you will see all your tools your tools. So you can see your tools here. Okay, so you've already added it. So because it's already been added, I can pull it in. So that's how this particular place works. So you write the description. So number one, the role of the agent, and the task. So what it's supposed to do is provide support to sales representative, and the specifics how it should move from one stage to another. And then the tools, so you have been given 3 powerful tools at your disposal, and then so at this point you put this, and then you now add tool. Once you add the tool to it, and then what the tool is supposed to do, what the tool does, and then yeah, so you add a few notes here, and that's all that there is to it. And once you're done with this, you save, and your tool is ready. So if you want to run this, for example, I've not made any changes to it, but if you want to run, so it logs, the interesting thing is that it logs all the different, but let's go back to it. So once that is done with building, let's look at this. So you can decide on how you want to trigger it. Okay, so the knowledge that it has, you can add knowledge to it, you can add tools that you want to give, the different tools that you have here. And then the triggers, sometimes if you may decide that you do not want to run this on RelevanceAI, or so you want to run it through, say, maybe WhatsApp, LinkedIn, Telegram. If to do that, you have to have a premium account to do this. But then there are different ways of pulling. You can pull it into Salesforce, you can pull it into WhatsApp Business, you can even pull it into an email, or maybe say you trigger it. So trigger is how you get the thing to run, right? So you can say I want to send an email to the agent, and then that triggers the workflow. And so many other things that you might choose to do here. But essentially, this is what this AI agent is. And so this is what I'll put this particular. So what I've done is to show you that interface you saw. It looked like this when I showed you earlier on how to get this, is for you to just come back in here, go into the agent itself, and then you let's see, I don't want to run it, so invent an agent. So let's click on that. I click on run. So when you get to the run part of it, you see share. Right, when you click on share, you can now see a publicly available link. So you made it public first, and then you copy the link. This link is what gave rise to that page that we saw at the beginning, this particular page. So you can run it from here, and you can share this link with people within your organization or people that you want to be able to use it. Don't forget that having API calls, for example, on OpenAI, those things cost money, but not so much that you cannot test it and try your hands on it. Let me know if you find this very useful. Feel free to drop a comment and ask questions wherever you may. At the beginning of the video, I did promise I was going to give you a background to the client on what actually prompted the development of this AI agent. Well, here it goes. So the client had gone for an event, and they had exhibited at that event, and they had collected some contacts. They want to follow up on that contact, as you would if you run events for organization. You want to, keep the conversation going, and it was important to demonstrate how important those contacts are by doing some research before the follow-up call. So that was the purpose of this AI agent. I hope that made sense. And I hope that helps you to understand why it was created the way it was, and why we needed that kind of detailed report on the contact. Anyways, that brings us to the end of this video. I hope you found it very useful. I look forward to hearing your feedback in the comments. Then anything you found useful particularly, let me know. If there's anything you would like me to build in the next video, let me know as well. Most of my videos will be coming with testing my hands on different platforms, and I'll let you know which one that I find the most useful, the one I find that I enjoy the most. Anyways, if you want to create your own RelevanceAI account, feel free to use my link in the description below, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye.